Today, we are going to examine the issue of our time. We're going to be looking at Animal Crossing versus The Sims, two franchises which allow you to escape the modern-day Escher-esque nightmare we're all living through. One features real people, and the other one features animal things that are trapped in some sort of capitalist nightmare. It's very exciting, and I don't understand how either actually offers escapism. I myself prefer to play nothing but EA Sports games, because I like microtransactions and controlling athletes. I'm like a college dean. So now, without further ado, I would like to introduce the lawyers representing each side. First of all, we'll have the team from Sims introduce themselves.
Good evening, world. My name is Jim Beach of the vaunted law firm Rosencrantz, Guild and Stern. Of course, I'm coming to you tonight from Strangerville. The reason I'm here is because my intention is to be abducted by aliens and bring them truth and justice. I'm obviously not been abducted yet, so because of that, I will be trying this case on behalf of the Sims and to make my father proud, whomever he may be.
We agreed that you would have no talk of fathers in any future drug court proceedings.
Yes, Dad. Judge.
You're on thin ice, mister.
Currently first chair, currently second chair. I have been at Harvard.
A fine distinction, I'm sure. I also have been through Harvard. And now, let's meet the team representing Animal Crossing.
Anna, my name is Tom Nook of Nook Incorporated. I'm here representing Animal Crossing. It's funny, last time I checked, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern were dead.
You're a fool, Nook.
A rich fool.
Keep the bickering to a minimum. Co-counsel?
Hi, I'm Harv, professional photographer and attorney at Dog, coming to you live from my own private island, also a 400 square foot apartment.
I'm sure you're an excellent lawyer. If you're half the lawyer Jim Beach is, you're probably going to win the case tonight. Also, you'd be at least like 6 feet tall. Now, to get things started, we're going to go to opening statements, and we had an arbitrary decision made earlier over the older franchise getting to go first. And that means Sims gets to go first. Sims, let's hear what you have to say.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm going to fiddle with screen share for a moment because I have a presentation.
All right, well, let's hope that goes better than anytime Jim Beach tries to use technology.
All right, listen. Judge, I can use technology perfectly well. I am streaming this from the middle of a canyon. I had to set up a satellite dish.
Ooh, a satellite dish. Wow. 1996 is super excited.
1996 was a great year.
Jim, weren't you born in 1996?
I was born in a date that shall not be discussed.
I'm pretty sure it was 1996.
So I just have some visual aids today because usually my perky personality does all the work for me. But unfortunately, they did not teach me the one time I was at Harvard how to do things online. So I am coasting. So today we're here to talk about The Sims. And I'm not here to disparage people who love Animal Crossing versus people who love Sims, because obviously Animal Crossing has a lot of merits. A lot of people love it, and in a lot of ways, they serve the same purpose. They provide escapism, they serve as both community building and simulation games. But to me, personally, I have always found a lot of solace and entertainment within The Sims. Your Honor, just for the records of the court, I have owned every edition of the Sims games, including the Urbs, Sims Busting Out, and Sims 1, Sims 2, I have owned Sims 3, I have owned countless expansion packs, and I currently play The Sims 4. All right,
Emily, that is noted into record, but just so you know, no one has to say you want it entered into record. We're recording this. Everything you say is on the record and in the record.
For the record, I would like to continue saying for the record.
Fine.
Your Honor, I would like it to be known that the stenographer was also fed bad Taco Bell and could not make it.
Yes, no, I'm perfectly aware of that. They're in the bathroom of my apartment right now.
And I have an African gray parrot that's been going out of its mind trying to remember all of that. Should I just set him free?
Yeah, no, you please go ahead and let that little guy go. Sounds delicious, though.
Back to what I was saying. So if you look at my screen share, I've created this little presentation that explains the core of the Sims model, which is its base game. The base game provides all of the architectural nuances and abilities and features that create the core of the game. When the game was created, it was originally called Dollhouse, and it was intended to be an intentionally architecture-only game. And Sims, or the people, were only added after the fact and during development were they developed as actual characters and elements of the game. Because when they were creating the game, they realized that's what gave the game a lot of life and gave it a lot of interest. So it moved during development of the first Sims game beyond just the idea of we can build houses. And it became about storytelling, community building, world building, and creation. At its core, it's a game that develops your imagination. So in your base game, you'll have create a sim, occupations, cool architecture, families, relationships, and item collections. That's from really the original base game of Sims 1. As you go on, you have Sims 2, which added new elements to the base game, like optional aging and life cycles, different stages of development from babies to toddlers to children, teens, adults, elderly, even college. Complex relationships began to be added, so you could have love-hate relationships, complicated family relationships like stepmothers and stepbrothers, and of course, better-looking Sims.
Complicated family relationships, eh?
Jim,
You wouldn't know anything about that, would you,
Jim?
Judge Reinhold?
Your Honor, I have a question.
You may ask a question. Everyone else is interrupting her.
Is Jim Beach's outburst for family connection part of the opening statements, or is it merely him wishing to sabotage himself?
Well, it's on the record, and if there's anyone who's good at sabotaging himself, it's Jim Beach. He might as well call himself Thanos. Am I right? Good marble burn.
Good one, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll remember that you laughed at that.
Your
Emily,
Honor,
would
for
you
the record,
continue?
I am used to being interrupted, so thank you.
Oh, excellent. Excellent.
For Sims 3, a full open world map was made available. It upgraded all design tools to allow you to create your own patterns. It even created an even more complex relationship system, and it overhauled the personality system, going from assigning points to assigning specific traits, allowing for more specific and detailed Sims. Finally, Sims 4, which is the current edition of the game, had ultra-detailed maps, artistically triumphant Sims. Jim, what?
I just had a quick question about overhauled personality systems. Can those systems be applied to absentee fathers?
Overruled.
Thank you.
Emily, would you please proceed? Jim, that's strike like 7. All right?
Jim, you're going to fuck this up for me. My favorite case.
Fine.
Additionally, it allowed for multitasking, even more deep love-hate relationships, and that doesn't even include games like the URBZ, the Urban Sims, the Sims Busting Out, the Sims Medieval, and the Sims Mobile, all of which brought their own new features to the table. A big core of the game, however, is expansions. The basic Sims games will give you a suburban world to live in. But if you want more things, you can find them. They are available for a purchase price, but you can have magic and sorcery and vampires, conservation, active careers, more detailed families, businesses, restaurants, medicine, islands. The possibilities are almost endless thanks to the amazing creators at the Sims franchise. But it doesn't stop there. One of the beautiful things about the Sims is that anybody can create content for it. You cannot charge for that content, but a lot of more realistic and fantastical elements of the game have been added by private creators, like realistic sex, drama, like family drama, fights, fist fights, super realistic violence, interactive schools. There is more content just beyond the game that EA and Maxis allows you to access for free, particularly when you are on the computer version of the game. And by the way, Sims 4 also runs for the laptop, which has made it really accessible to a lot of people. One of the major points about The Sims is that it's not system exclusionary. As I said, you can run it on a laptop now. You can run it on an Xbox. I play it on the PS4. You can run it on several systems, and it's been that way for years. I started playing in 2004 on a GameCube. However, with a game like Animal Crossing, it's so Nintendo exclusive that you are required to have the proper system in order to use it, which I think is an inhibitor for a lot of people who want to play the game. It does run on a laptop, which is pretty remarkable considering the complexity of the game. And every year, at least twice, it goes on sale for $5. And that includes expansion packs, which are usually discounted as low as 50% most of the time after they've been released for at least 3 months. In order to play one of the 5 Animal Crossing games, you need a Nintendo system, however, and they don't create very many games. Since it was released in 2001, you've had to purchase a Nintendo-specific console every edition of the game. And that is an inhibitor for a lot of people who want to play. So when it comes to expansive possibilities and inclusive player experiences, I think Sims is the answer. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that, Emily, first share.
Interrupting me so many times.
You're welcome. You know, what's Dorkcord without a few interruptions? Am I right? I will also remind Jim Beach that you've used up all of your interruptions, so you get no more during the rest of this period. Okay?
I'll see you in hell, Judge.
Probably. That's where the naughty people go, and I've been very bad. All right, now I want to have an opening statement from our dear friends in the Animal Crossing world.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, Your Honor, villagers, animal friends of the court, we come to you today not simply in defense of a simple video game or even an intellectual property. We come to you today in defense of a simpler kind of way of life. Now, I'm just a humble country raccoon trying to do the best I can against the modular, godlike, manipulative powers of these big fancy city simmers. But now, our game of
Someone hear that? What was
Beach,
that? I
that was
demand to
you.
know who booed.
That was you.
Judge, I would like Jim Beach to know that if he is to press up on the D-pad, it will allow him to look at the sky, so he might relax his ailing heart.
He is a D-pad. All right.
Good one, Your Honor. 2 jokes in a row. Now, I believe that our game of Animal Crossing provides something truly unique and special. It offers peace and stillness, something that Jim Beach may find throughout this court, giving people a sense of tranquility and a time for reflection in this dog-eat-dog world, Your Honor. But this teaches a new way to enjoy nature, to participate and be a part of community, and experience the sciences and the arts in a way altogether new. And in a time so frightening and isolating, we could all use a little bit of stress relief and a little bit of community. Now, you may hear a lot from the Sims about their big fancy abilities to destroy and create. Well, I tell you, down in our village, the only thing we're concerned with is the latter. Now, I believe our affordable health care, our lack of discrimination and poverty or wage disparagement, or pollution-free skies, unless you count beautifully wrapped presents being just carried across the skies on red balloons as pollution, Your Honor. They usually have furniture in them. Oh, also, our lack of police brutality and a low crime rate, unless you count that one little fox fellow who's coming in and he sells the one real painting and 3 fake ones. But our police officers are on that, for they have nothing else to do except help friendly little villagers on their way home if they're stung by hornets one too many times. I believe these things will speak for themselves. Now, I invite everyone, please join us in our village. There's no optional DLC you have to pay extra for. There's no new laptop you have to buy. You know, I believe firmly that our wondrous game of Animal Crossing not only sparks creativity, but it sparks community, inquisitiveness, and a nurturing spirit to all who might wish to be within our neighborhood. Jim Beach, are you all right?
Has he finally died? Oh.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was having a terrible nightmare that someone was droning on for hours, and it was so boring I couldn't pay attention to what they were saying.
That's
All
true,
right,
because
Beach.
now I would invite everyone in the court, along with Jim Beach, to come be a part of our village, because we do not discriminate, and all are welcome in our peaceful little town. Your Honor, I would like the record to show that I added a heart emoji at the end of my opening statements.
Okay, I mean, again, everything is on the record, so by you saying that, we know that you put it there. Thank you.
I object,
also-
Your Honor, on the
Love
grounds
hearts.
that I have no heart.
Jim, every door court you talk about your lack of heart and your broken penis. Neither are appropriate for this particular case. Now,
That's a matter of opinion, Your Honor.
Yes,
Dungeon Master.
the judge's opinion, which matters, damn it. Now, as I was trying to say, thank you for your statement, Mr. Nook. I think you're making a huge mistake by inviting Jim Beach into your community, because all of those nice things you said about it will go away when he spreads his infectious hatred throughout your land.
Well, Judge
He's a cancer.
I do not say no to any client, just like I've given you a 0% loan on your Seinfeld home, just like I have given Jim a 0% loan on his giant 1996 device of which he's communicating through us in the desert. You see, I'm a businessman, and business holds neutrality, unlike Jim Beach's anything.
As much as I would love to make this entire case nothing but just ganging up on Jim Beach and talking about what a scoundrel he is, I do think that we should probably proceed with the proceedings.
Wonderful.
Oh, finally, some decent judging from the bench.
Or we could continue talking shit.
Withdrawn.
Thank you. God, I hate that guy.
Your Honor,
All right.
you cannot withdraw when we are recording.
Well, I mean, no, it was said, but he's withdrawing the motion.
Oh, take that.
It's not stricken from the record. It's just he's not wanting to proceed with it.
I suppose that's the closest he comes to an apology. Thank you, Your Honor.
Oh, it is. Yeah. No, he's incapable of saying the words. I'm sorry. Hey, Jim, try to say the words "I'm" and "sorry" next to each other.
I'm not your dancing bear anymore.
See, he can't do it. He's broken. The costume still fits. Let's go ahead and move on. We would like to go ahead and hear witnesses now. Sims, once again, won the fake coin toss, so you will go ahead and call your first witness. I will ask all other members of the court to mute themselves and to not interrupt, because this is already taking too long.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
I would like to call Mrs. Bella Goth to the stand. Mrs. Goth, can you state your name and the address of your home for the court?
Bella Goth, Bachelor, 5 Sim Lane.
Thank you. Mrs. Goth, some players, and certainly fans of The Sims, would call you an icon. You have been in every edition of The Sims games. Can you attest to that cultural status?
Spain wash, Habalay de Fanubare Harbachet, de Flanarcely Gari Palais Hardu.
Sorry, Mrs. Goth, we're going to turn on the translator. I think I'm the only one here who speaks Simlish. Excuse. There you go.
As I was saying, I would wholeheartedly agree. I have a consistent aesthetic, as seen with my red dress and dark hair. And I have a dramatic past that any screenwriter would dream of. To name a few, I live with ghosts, I've been abducted by aliens, and I was once a secret agent. I'm iconic because players can see themselves in me or who they would aspire to be. I'm spooky, I'm fancy, and I'm awash with friends, money, and romantic interest.
That's wonderful. Mrs. Goth, despite your trials and tribulations, for example, the alien abductions, would you say you've had a good life?
I would. I have 2 wonderful children, Alexander and Cassandra, with my very wealthy husband, Mortimer, a huge mansion filled with ghosts, crystal balls, armor. I have a steady career, a handsome boy toy. Life is exciting. I have everything I could want. To name a few, if you would permit, I have a
Yes.
ship, a functional wishing well, a portal to an alien planet. I have a man-eating cow plant, a weather machine, a clothing device, a ray gun, a one-night stand with the Grim Reaper, a pet robotic dog, a rocket broom, a pond full of man-eating fish, a vampiric den, and a star on the Simmywood Walk of Fame.
Mrs. Goth, you have such a rich, full, and beautiful life. Tell me, do you give a flying fuck about turnip prices or paying off debt?
Fuck no. What is debt? Oh, that sounds boring. Did you hear anything I said about? Did you hear anything I said about having a ghost in a spaceship?
I did. I'm making a point. It's called law.
Thank you.
Mrs. Goff, one more question. Would you trade your dramatic, exciting life to work in indentured servitude to a capitalistic raccoon, even in exchange for an island?
I would have to say that I would not. The possibilities of my life are limitless. I could at any moment pursue a new career or a new skill. I could abandon my family again or reverse time, become a vampire, a sorcerer, become a vampire sorcerer who is also a ghost. Why the fuck would I pick turnips?
Thank you so much, Mrs. Goth. Animal Crossing, your witness.
I'll remind you to please keep your questions civil. And Bella, always lovely to see you. Very much looking forward to Copacabana in a couple of weeks.
Yes, likewise.
Your Honor, we would like to call Isabel to the stand.
Oh, you have no questions for Bella Goth?
No question. Did you hear what I said about my ghosts and my spaceship?
Also, she was talking some shit on turnip picking.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. I was busy getting rich while on the stock market while she said that. Harv, you want to go for this one?
I do tend to stun people. It's fine.
Yeah, ghosts are not really a big deal. We have a ghost on our island. His name is Wisp. He's very friendly.
Harv, do you have any questions for Miss Bella?
Objection, Your Honor. Do they have a point to make, or are we just supposed to watch these amateur lawyers piddle around in their own drool?
Well, Jim, for once, you're making a valid point, even if you're kind of being a dick about it. Counsel, Animal Crossing, do you have any questions for Bella, or may we dismiss her?
I do have some questions. Harv, would you like to go, or shall I?
No, you can go.
All right, great. Let's all camera off while they cross-examine. Thank you.
Miss Bella, thank you so much for joining us here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I understand a few things about The Sims, and I'd love it if you might be able to help me find some clarity. Now, have you ever created something for the sole purpose of destroying it?
I would never hurt my children if that's what you're assuming.
Not your children, but as I understand, one might create life in The Sims, and there are those who might create life for the purpose of destroying it.
I can't say that I would. And if I wanted to, I would simply hire someone to do it for me.
Now, I would like to cite that in order to have this supposed one-night stand with death, death must come around a few times to be properly wooed. Now, there might have to be a couple of people that might have to die under mysterious circumstances for death to be around enough. Might you have any comments for this?
No comment at this time.
Your Honor, can she just do that?
No, Miss Goth, please answer the question. You are under oath, and we take oaths very seriously in Dork Court.
I mean, I've never done anything myself, to be fair. What other people may do around me or because of me, because they're intimidated by me, is not necessarily something that I'm always aware of.
Well, I would like to know exactly what you might be aware of. Are you familiar with the torture methods that are used by the people that call themselves gods within your game?
No, not at all. I choose not to bite the hand that feeds me.
So you're not familiar with starving a sim, drowning a sim by removing a ladder, putting a rug next to a fireplace?
No, but these are very clever ways to execute someone you might want gone. I'll have to write those down.
Your Honor, I would, and of course it is being recorded, so all I have to do is say it for it to be on record, but the witness has showed an interest in using torture methods that I have described.
Your Honor, if I may, I just want it stated for the record that I too am taking note of these torture methods for future use.
As if you could do anything with the information, Jim Beach. Thank you. That is on the record. And
Your
with that,
Honor,
I think
for the record, there are many more torture abilities than counsel has described. There is
Please let me know.
also death by cowplant. There is electrocution. You can die from laughing too hard. You can die from being too angry. They call that cardiac explosion. You can die from being too happy. You can die of a broken heart. Any extreme emotion can kill a sim.
That sounds horrible.
It certainly does sound as though the creators of The Sims have specifically engineered the game to enjoy the suffering of others.
I
Awesome.
tend to inspire jealousy in others, if that helps.
So what you're saying, Tom Nook, is that the creators of The Sims have attempted to simulate real life.
Yes, almost. Well, I would say they have attempted to simulate real life while also adding new rules that might make death a little bit more entertaining to some with certain constitutions.
People do enjoy watching suffering. All right.
You can die of embarrassment. I want that on the record.
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor. Opposing counsel is failing to make their own case. Wait a minute. Wait. No. Objection withdrawn.
Let's be careful.
I mean, it's already out there.
Embarrassment too, huh?
Yeah, I guess so. Mr. Nook, you have time for one more question, then I need you to wrap it up.
All right. Ms. Bella Goth, would you describe to me how you feed your cow plant?
Unfortunately, in good conscience, I can't answer that question. I pay someone to do it for me.
I'll remind you, Ms. Goth, you are under oath. The person that you pay is still acting under your direction. Please answer the question.
If one hires an assassin, one still might be culpable of murder.
I work for Mrs. Goth, and she is paying me to say this. It is a man-eating cow plant. It eats men.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
Okay. Mr. Nook, does that satisfy your query?
That does satisfy my query. Thank you so much, Ms. Goth.
You're so welcome.
Thank you very much, Ms. Goth. You are dismissed. I will see you in the future.
Thank you.
All right. With that, Animal Crossing may now call their first witness.
The council would like to call Isabel to the stand.
Oh, sweet Isabel.
Hello.
Hi
How
there.
is everyone today? Hi.
Thank you for asking. That's very nice.
Yes.
Would you?
Do you need anything? Do you want me to get you anything? Do you need a water, a pen, a paper?
Oh, I've got pen and paper in hand. Thank you very much for asking. That's very considerate.
Good.
Okay. Would you state your name and occupation?
Yes, hi, my name is Isabel. I work at Resident Services, and I'm just here to make sure that you have everything you need on the island.
Oh, that's super cute. That's super nice. What would you, in your own words, say some of your day-to-day responsibilities as Resident Services Director are?
Oh, well, a lot of it is, maintaining my post, and if someone comes in, I want to greet them. Sometimes I just really want to give them a happy and joyful greeting, and to make sure they have everything they need, and also to let them know about any news that might be happening on the island.
Okay. So you're kind of a jack of all trades in some ways.
Yeah, you could say that. Thank you.
Now, let's say, for example, there was an administrative function, like let's say someone wanted to change the town anthem or the town flag. What kind of process are we looking at?
Oh, all you have to do is come talk to me, and I'll talk you through the steps. It's a very simple function, and you know what's amazing about being on the island is you can make it and detail it any way you want to. We're happy to help.
Wow, bud. So you're saying there's not a lot of bureaucratic red tape or paperwork involved?
No, not at all. You just have to have the want, and we'll give you the will.
I see. So there's not a town meeting that just dissolves into acrimony and a bunch of people screaming at one another? It's just you can come up and simply ask?
That's right. We're here to help you.
That is wonderfully conflict-free. let me ask you another question. On average, just ballpark estimate, how many horrible casualties do you deal with on the island? Say from people trying to make some food with a low level of cooking skill and a inadequate stove, or from an electrical shock, or from a carnivorous plant?
Hmm. You know, I can't recall any of those episodes exactly in my head. So I guess I would have to say it's a final zero, a zero number of incidents.
0 deaths. Very
Yeah.
interesting. Is there any kind of major strife that you dealt with as resident services director? Any kind of any major problem that you get a lot of complaints about?
I wouldn't say complaints per se. Some people are very curious what the turnip prices are gonna be. That changes every day, but it's so easy to find out the information. And in general, everyone seems so happy, which makes me happy.
Sure. And let's say if the turnip prices drop dramatically, does that usher in any sort of economic depression where people are unable to pay their mortgages, or have any kind of economic struggle?
No, all of our loans are interest fee free, so there are really no consequences to the prices changing. It's just one little thing that fluctuates day to day.
Wow. I mean, in a way, you could say that's almost utopian.
We'd like to think so. It makes me so happy to hear you say that.
Well,
If I might add one question for Miss Isabel. Isabel, you worked with me for many years. Are there any penalties for not paying your loan?
No penalties at all.
Thank you. Back to you, Harv.
oh yeah, thank you, Tom. If I could just show this one little thing to our jury. Hold on one second.
Might I say, Tom, you're looking very nice today.
Oh, that's very kind
Well,
of you.
thank you, Isabel. You're looking as radiant as always.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, right. Now, if I could direct everyone's attention to this photograph of Isabel in her element here, what is in front of you appears to be a tall, frosty, old-fashioned cocktail. Would you just say, on the whole, does this impede your performance as resident services director?
No, it doesn't at all. You know, my job is a lot of sitting and listening to people and giving them what they need and helping them. So I always like to keep a frosty old fashioned nearby because why not, you know?
Right. Because would you say in a way that your job doesn't have to dealing with all the lower functions of Maslow's hierarchy of needs and just kind of going with the flow?
Yes, we live in a very relaxed and wonderful environment. It's truly a blessing for everyone who gets to visit.
Well, I have no further questions. Thank you very much, Isabel.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Isabel. Very, very good to see you. You're in such chipper spirits.
Oh, Judge, do you need anything? Do you need a gavel? Do you need a comb for your luscious locks of hair?
You're so sweet, but I'm completely covered. I have a comb and I have my infinity gavel right here, ready to smack Jim Beach across the head.
I have a question. Isabel,
Oh,
do you need some
yes.
disinfectant for the human feces you have all over your nose?
Objection, Your Honor.
Out of line.
While not being a badger.
Out of line, Jim Beach.
I actually do have a response to Jim Beach's question, if that's okay.
Yes, of course.
Overruled.
Jim Beach, could you stand up, please? I need to provide you with a little something. Could you turn your camera on and stand up? We need to see
Beach.
the problem so I can help you.
Beach, do it. Do it.
We have lots of goods to help you, and obviously, you're in need of some pants. Will you step back a little bit so everyone can see? And I'll provide you with some NOOK ink pants for you to wear.
Jim, your satellite technology. Your satellite technology is making you blend in with your background.
Your Honor.
He did not buy the
Yeah.
deluxe version.
I just want to point out that that it may be appropriate to expose the court to my giant phallus.
That it
Jim,
may
sit down.
I mean,
this is my witness.
That's not possible.
Yeah.
Jim?
Jim, I would just like to point out, if need be, we can send you over to Able Tailors. You can make your own custom design, and that might hide that huge hog of yours. It's up to you.
Yes, if you want to remain professional and hide your enormous hog, we can definitely do something custom for you for an affordable price.
I'll take it under advisement.
Isabella, thank you so much for the kindness that you've shown Jim Beach. It's very rare, though I'm not surprised that he lashed out in the way that he did. He's a bad, naughty, evil man. Now, it's time for regular questions for you. Sims group, you may cross-examine the witness. Let everybody else zip it and shut it.
Thank you. Isabel, thank you for putting up with Jim and being here today. I just want to say you're a very good girl. You are a dog. You are a dog, yes?
Yes, that is. Oh, thank you. I'm technically, yes, I'm a Shih Tzu. It's so nice for you to have that recognition. And what animal are you?
People, I think.
Oh.
Isabel, your salary is unlisted online, or rather it is listed as $0. So you are a volunteer.
Oh, I'm a member of the community, which is truly the most joyful job there is, to be able to be one with the community and to help others. Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot to ask you, Emily, do you need anything? Do you need a clipboard? Do you need a pen? You look so wonderful today. Would you like a vanity mirror so you can look at yourself?
No, I just need you to answer my cross-examination questions. Do you know that in The Sims 2 Pets and in other editions of The Sims as well, animals do have jobs, including dogs and cats?
Oh, I don't play video games, so I'm not familiar with The Sims or The Sims 2.
Also, counsel, be careful, that bordered on leading.
You're right. My apologies, Your Honor. Isabel, therefore you're not aware that in The Sims, an animal who has a job can make as much as almost 800 simoleons a day.
I haven't played The Sims, so I don't know, and I'm not sure what a simoleon is. But I do know that on our island, you can fish and donate the fish to museums, or you could sell extra fish and bugs and fruit for so many bells. And anyone can do that.
Isabel, are you an unpaid animal laborer?
Oh, I'm a member of the community. No one gets pay for jobs here. We just participate in the community and we can sell goods for our own bells.
That is a yes or no question. Are you an unpaid animal laborer?
I wouldn't call myself that. I wouldn't say I'm a laborer because it doesn't feel like
Isabel,
work.
I need something. I need you to answer yes or no.
Yeah, no, I'm not an unpaid laborer because this is not labor. This is joy.
A labor of love, perhaps.
Your Honor,
Nook?
I move that we send some lock-picking devices to those poor animals on that prison island.
Jim, I know this is a tough concept to understand for you, but there are creatures on this Earth, or many others, not even Earths, but many throughout the galaxy, that do things for altruistic reasons.
And I would also like to,
Maybe,
I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, maybe Isabella and her animals are like that, and she's having a hard time answering your line of questioning because she doesn't understand the context in which you're coming from, which is, I think, where that disconnect's happening. Maybe?
Sure. And your motion to get a bunch of lock pickers to the island is a moot point. All of our doors are unlocked.
Yes, we don't lock our doors.
In Nook's Cranny after 9 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Your Honor, I would like it stated for this court that even the most beautiful and nicest of prisons is still a prison.
All right, well,
Are you saying
said-
that you're in a prison? Do you need us to get you out? Would you like to come visit us on the island and finally live the life you've been searching for?
Live a life with no consequences, where everybody's happy, where there are no real decisions to be made? No, thank you, Isabel. I live in the real world. I believe in achieving our own results and not having everything handed to us. I worked through my entire life without a father, damn it! Without a father, and I'm the best lawyer in the land. So that's what I have to say to you.
all right,
Thank you.
Jim,
No further
Jim,
questions.
Thank you. And
Your Honor, I would
Jim,
like to object to the comment that he is the best lawyer, and I would like to forward that he may be the worst.
well, I won't make a ruling on worst lawyer. He totally is the worst lawyer.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I heard that.
I won't make a ruling on that, but he's so bad. I will, however, say that, Jim, you were seeded with a lot of money to go to law school. I don't know where that came from, but maybe you should shut your yap sometimes about how you were not supported. All right, I would like to move on. Are there any further questions for the lovely Isabella?
No further questions, Your Honor.
No, we would like to thank Isabel for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and help us with this very important activity.
Of course, it was so good to see you all. If you need anything, come find me at Resident Services.
Thank you, Isabella. Enjoy whatever you're watching on television tonight.
Goodbye, bud.
All right. So thank you very much for that witness and that riveting exchange. I believe the Sims have another witness they wish to call.
Yes, Your Honor. The Sims calls Mr. Malcolm Landgrab.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Malcolm. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing quite well, Mr. Beach. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I, as usual, am terrible. Now, I'll get right into the questioning so that we don't waste this honorable court's time. Mr. Landgrab, many people know you as the original Sim, if you'll pardon the pun. But could you please introduce yourself to the court?
Well, I don't know about being the original Sim, but the Landgrab family has been around since the beginning, yes. Well, my name is Malcolm Landgrab. I am the son of Nancy and Jeffrey Landgrab. Growing up, originally I wanted to be a doctor, but my mother and father pushed me to be owners of their businesses. I'm sure you know how fathers can be, Mr. Beach. Well, I took over the family business, and I guess now you would perhaps consider me a real estate mogul. I have my hands in many portfolios. I have a broad spectrum of businesses, from real estate, science labs. I do believe a good man and a good businessman is someone who broadens their horizon.
Very well, Mr. Landgrab. I have perhaps an unorthodox question, but one which I think is important for the court to hear. Have you ever worked with one Tom Nook in any aspect of your business?
Tom, I didn't know you were here.
Hey, how's it going there, Malcolm? How you doing? How's the family?
Oh, still alive, yes. They're doing quite well, Mr. Nook.
Lovely to hear. Thank you.
Oh, Mr. Beach, I'm not sure I would like to discuss my past business endeavors. Is it absolutely necessary? I thought we were here to talk about just myself.
No,
Malcolm, I will remind the witness that you are under oath and must answer the question, or I will hit you with my gavel.
Oh, that sounds painful. Yes. Well, yes, I did work with Tom and Nook early in my career. Yes.
You did work with Tom Nook.
Yes.
Would you be able to explain to the court why you no longer associate with the good and fair Mr. Nook?
Your Honor, is it possible to plead the fifth on this one?
Well, legally speaking, yes. The entertainment value of doing so is very low, though, so in this instance, we are going to pretend that the fifth does not exist.
That sounds fair, yes.
No, it's completely fair. I said it. It's fair.
Well, to put it bluntly, since we are being honest, and since he's in the room, and I've been wanting to say this for a while, it's his business practices. Tom is a shyster, to put it bluntly. He preys upon those cute, defenseless animals. He puts on a front of everything being so peaceful and so loving on his islands and his towns that he just says there's nothing to worry about, nothing to be done, but he corners the market. He has a monopoly on lending money. He is the only one in those places to do such a thing. And he doesn't have to, do much. He just charges everyone for the loans. He just gives it to everyone to where he just makes profit off of it. And the whole idea makes me uncomfortable with so much debt. I think people are much happier without so much debt in their lives.
Well, Malcolm, isn't it fair to say that Tom offers his clients a fair deal? He apparently doesn't charge any interest. Is that right?
Why, yes, it is. Malcolm Landgrab, how are the interest rates for your...
Objection, Your Honor! This is my line of questioning.
Yes, Mr. Nook, I will remind you that you are currently not on the witness stand, so I will ask you to please zip your video and clap your audio.
Yes, of course, Your Honor. What should I do if Jim looks at me and asks me a question again?
I believe he was addressing that to Malcolm, was he not?
Jim, were you not asking me a question?
I was asking my witness a question, you second-rate hack of a lawyer.
Well,
Now,
excuse me. I'm sorry, that wasn't very enable of me at all.
let's keep all insults focused at Jim Beach. Thank you very much. Tom, and Malcolm, would you please proceed with answering the question? Jim, you may need to restate it just to make it more clear that that's who you're talking to. And again, Tom, send your video off.
Yes. Sorry, Your Honor. I thought that was clear when I started my question by saying Malcolm, but I shall do so again for the hard of hearing raccoon. Malcolm, isn't it fair to say that Tom offers his clients a fair deal? He apparently doesn't charge any interest. Isn't that right?
Well, yes, that is a fair deal according to him, and those are his words. They're a fair deal. He doesn't charge interest, but if that were the end of it, I would still be in business with him. But that's not the end of it. You see, he corners the market, and he sells so many of those animals with the debt. He doesn't need to. He just gathers interest because there are so many people riddled with debt. He can just work them to the bone to pay it all off until they either get bored or stop playing, which happens quite often, or he just manages to, collect whatever property they have left whenever they default on the loan.
Interesting. What happens to those who default on Tom Nook's loans? What are the consequences as you understand them, Malcolm?
You mean you don't know? You haven't... Any of you have played Animal Crossing? Have you ever gone back to your islands, to your games after a few years of not playing? Let me tell you something about Tom Nook. He's not a raccoon. He's a tanuki. He's a Japanese mythological creature. He preys upon us mortals. He saddles you with so much debt. He says everything is fine. He lures you in with his sweet southern swarthy charm. And when you can't pay it back, he waits until you're done. And then one night, when you come back, he'll say, I have some holes I need you to dig for my flowers, for my pottery. Not holes. They're your own grave. I've seen him do it. They were just children. He made them dig their own grave. They're still there. But you'll never find them. You'll never be able to prosecute him. No case with no bodies.
Your Honor,
I'm sorry.
This is a pretty good time to object.
That's okay. I have no further questions. This witness is clearly traumatized.
Yes,
Your Honor, for the record, a tanuki is a raccoon dog.
Yes, no, I'm aware. I played Super Mario 3. Look, in light of this revelation, I think I'm going to have to ask if Animal Crossing has any cross-examinations that it be performed by Harv rather than Tom Nook, given the nature of the relationship between the attorney and our witness.
I'd be happy to, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. I'm done hiding.
I would like the record to show that if anyone was to visit their island again, they would find the only thing that may be different is that some old villagers might not be there. And any hole that anyone dug would be the one they dug for themselves.
Wow.
Ominous.
Yeah,
Ominous.
I'm not quite sure that did what you wanted it to do, Tom. Let's go ahead and cameras off so that we can have a cross-examination between Harv and Malcolm. Tom,
Good luck, Malcolm. I love you. You're a good man.
Jim!
Hello, Malcolm. You are, Malcolm, you are the heir to the land grab fortune, are you not?
I am indeed the heir to the Landgrab fortune, yes.
Okay. And what is your official position, if you wouldn't mind restating it?
I am currently the owner of Landgrab Industries.
Okay. Now, are there any other real estate establishments in the world of The Sims?
Yes, currently from what I understand, Bella earlier mentioned that she was an owner of several things. I do have other names of families that escape my mind just because they're the competition and I tend not to pay attention to them. But they do live across the street from my current family's mansion.
Okay. Would you say that your position was earned or came about through nepotism?
Nepotism is such a strong and insulting word, Mr. Harv. I appreciate your insinuation. However, I can assure you, due to my mother's strict upbringing, that it is not the result of nepotism because, as you can clearly see, I did have an older brother at one point, and he is no longer a member of the family because he failed.
Sure.
My mother has very high standards for her children.
Well, that's the cold austerity that I would expect from someone of Scandinavian descent. Now, let me ask you something about your real estate practices. If a resident of The Sims wanted to build a house that they did not have the money for, would you loan them the money?
Of course. That is one of the jobs of my industry, yes.
Okay. Is there any penalty for defaulting on your loan?
That I am aware of, no. There is no penalty. We do not charge interest as that makes me uncomfortable.
Sure. Are you aware also that Tom Nook's has identical lending practices to your own?
Well, yes, but at the same time, I do not have a corner on the market, as I clearly stated. I also don't make people dig their own graves.
Sure. Mr. Landgrab, are you familiar with fossils?
Define familiar. I'm aware that they exist, but I don't own any.
Okay. In your own words, could you tell me what a fossil is?
A fossil is the remnant of an ancient creature or organism of some kind that has existed centuries ago or some time ago in indeterminate amount, and these are the remains that have left an imprint upon the soil where they once were. Is that
very well put? Now, do fossils include bones?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, but would something buried over centuries in the soil, if it could it possibly be a bone?
Yes.
Cool. Is it possible then that these alleged skeletons of children forced to be their own grave could in fact just be a Triceratops skull?
Objection, Your Honor! Malcolm isn't a scientist!
It's true, he's not, though this being DORK Court, I'm very interested to hear what he thinks of the question.
Mr. Huff, could you repeat the question? I'm not sure I understand. Are you asking me if those children's graves I was describing earlier, is it not possible that it could be a Triceratops skull? Is that what you said?
That's exactly what I'm asking.
Are you confusing Triceratops skulls for children's bones?
I'm wondering if you've confused Triceratops skulls for children's bones.
No, a child does not have 3 horns on their head. I have not mistaken that. I've seen him put the bodies in the grave!
Sure. Where are these bodies?
Objection, Your Honor. Objection.
Yes, Mr. Nook, you're objecting to your own team's questioning?
Yes, I believe if Malcolm Landgrab was to allegedly have been there seeing me bury children, would that not make him accessory to murder?
Only if there was an actual murder.
Exactly. So perhaps for him to make such an outlandish comment would be insinuating that he was part of this crime as well. I would like to strike this from the record as being credible.
Your Honor, I'm confused. Are we putting Tom Nook on trial, or are we trying to put The Sims and the Animal Crossing on trial? Right?
Well, I mean, it was originally Sims and Animal Crossing, and then you brought up the whole Tom Nook murders children and buries them in shallow graves that he forces them to dig themselves. I mean, you brought that into the whole thing, so now I guess that's a part of the conversation. Frankly, I wish it worked because it's creepy and weird, and I don't like it.
It also seems oddly like, I don't know, perjury?
Slander?
Well, sure. But it hasn't been proven, and that's not what the trial is. Perhaps that'll be something that the police can look into, and I would strongly encourage them to, if you have evidence of this.
Well, what
Mr.
is
Landgraf.
presenting evidence that has no basis in fact as evidence on the stand, on the record, than perjury?
I will ask the jury to strike any consideration of the allegations of murder against Mr. Tom Nook from their consideration. And I will say this. This is not the time to allege new crimes on the witness stand. Now, if this is true, an investigation will be conducted and
Sure.
the law will get to the bottom of it. I can assure you of that, because I will not have any murderous Tanukis kicking around in my neck of the galaxy. I'll tell you that much.
Of course. Our gates are always open, and I am a Tanuki, but that seems like profiling.
Well, that's the other allegation I would like to address. Before, Mr. Landgrab, you referred to the Tanuki as a mythological animal. Can you tell me some attributes of the Tanuki?
Are you familiar with Japanese mythology, Mr. Harv?
I'm not on the stand right now. I'm asking if you're familiar with Japanese
It's
mythology.
just a question to see if you understand and see how much I need to tell you.
Mr. Landgrab,
Well,
assume that we have a layman's understanding, and please answer the question.
Very well. So, if you haven't seen or read any literature on Tanuki, I'm sure you're all familiar, since we are discussing Nintendo, the Tanuki suit from Super Mario Brothers.
Absolutely.
In that, you could wear that suit and turn into a statue. Which you may not be familiar with is that Tanuki are known to have an ability. The ability is to inflate their testicles to a monstrous size and be able to bounce around on them.
Yes. Now, with this oversized scrotum that the Tanuki can use as a bouncy ball, or alternatively as a deflated sort of paraglider, have you ever seen Tom Nook gliding over the island with his inflated scrotum?
Oh, no, of course not. He keeps it very well hidden.
Now, if that's the case, is it possible that you've mistaken a raccoon for an easy to mistake raccoon dog?
No, I have not. There are official statements that say that Tom Nook isn't in fact a Tanuki. You can research that.
Have you ever seen Mr. Nook turn himself into a kettle or spend trying to copulate with farmers' daughters?
Objection, Your Honor. I'm about to barf. I move that the witness be dismissed.
I will also note that not even like 3 minutes ago, Tom Nook said, "Yes, I'm a Tanuki." So
I believe my objection to it would be that it has no bearing, and it's just pure racism that because of my race as a Tanuki that I am bent on the suffering of others.
Did Harv not just a couple of minutes ago make a racist remark about the Scandinavian descent of our witness, Malcolm Landgrab? Nobody is innocent here, Your Honor. I move that this witness be dismissed and allowed to go to his therapy appointment, which he is late for and he needs because he is traumatized by Tom Nook's evil deeds.
Your Honor, in light of the murder accusations, and the potential perjury and the giant scrotum, may I have a 2-question redirect?
you're on thin ice, but let's hear it.
Thank you. I am afraid of thick ice. Malcolm, I know this is unorthodox, but I'm going to open a second line of questioning for you. Because of your answer regarding your business practices, it is true that you are a repo man, correct? And if the Sims fail to pay their bills, you collect their possessions in lieu of actual simoleons.
It is a necessary part of the business, yes, I regret to inform you.
And that is how you make money. So my question for you, Mr. Landgrab, is if Tom Nook, as a businessman, collects no interest and he also has no means for collecting on unpaid debt, how does he stay in business?
Again, if he has the corner on the market, he eventually lends money to so many people that he doesn't need to collect interest. The market
Is that a sustainable business model?
Oh, is it? No, absolutely not. Eventually, he just has, his real estate on the islands, and it's just, after you've paid off your debt to him, it's just, how can you sustain that?
Thank you. So Tom Nook is a bad businessman and potentially a child murderer.
Yes.
Thank
We're
you.
going to strike the child murderer. Yeah,
Objection.
the child murderer thing is going to be stricken. The jury at home, the wonderful people who will be deciding this, will be asked to forgo any talk of Tom Nook being a child murderer,
Yes.
because the allegations cannot be proven, and Tom Nook is not on trial specifically. We are trying to try the Animal Crossing franchise versus The Sims. It's damning, it's shocking, and there will be a time when he's brought to justice, maybe, but that will not be what we are working on tonight.
Your Honor,
Your
I would
Honor.
like to make one objection towards the line of questioning that was just put forth.
Sure.
Well, I do believe if my business practices are under question, perhaps an outsider that has not worked with me in years is not the right person to be considered an expert witness.
Well, this is something that should be taken into consideration. I have one question for Mr. Landgrab, and then we'll go in to dismiss him and move on. Mr. Landgrab, when specifically was the last time that you conducted business with Mr. Nook?
The last time that I conducted, it was early in my real estate career, so I would have to say somewhere in the beginning, somewhere around Sims 2.
Which was?
I believe that was in the early 2000s.
Okay, so the early aughts. So we are
It's
talking
about 2004, 2005.
Yes.
All right, so the early to mid aughts. All right,
Yes.
that information should be taken into consideration, I think, by jurors when weighing the testimony of Mr. Landgrab. All right, Mr. Landgrab, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Your
yes,
Honor.
You had a question.
Your Honor, I would just like to ask that Jim Beach's claim of reverse racism against Scandinavians stay on the record because it's hilarious.
Everything is on the record, and it will definitely stay there.
Cool move, Jim.
Jim is full of that kind of thing. He's like a chalupa of spite. There's just layers of it, and then when you're done, you feel awful. Mr.
The apple
Landgrab, thank you
doesn't
very
fall
much.
far from the tree, Judge.
Oh, I'm more of an orange guy myself. They're much better than apples. They don't hurt your teeth as much when you bite into them. Mr. Landgrab, thank you very much. You are dismissed.
Thank you very much. Tom,
Yes,
stay away from my family.
I wouldn't think of it.
You wouldn't think of staying away from...
I would not think of coming anywhere near his family.
All right, that was...
Weird to say, but
That
for the
was
record, I'm glad it's on the record.
I'm also, for the record, I'm glad that Mr. Landgrab is over and we can move on to the Animal Crossing witness. And let's try and maybe zip through this one because holy crap, dog, it's already late.
All right. Well, Your Honor, we would like to call to the stand KK Slider, Esquire.
Oh my God, what, really? He's here?
Oh, are you a fan, Your Honor?
I love KK.
A special treat for us all. I believe I heard him for a brief second.
What's
KK,
buzzing, y'all?
How's it hanging, Daddy-O?
How you doing, Tom? Long time no see.
You know, I'm doing quite wonderful. Long time no see indeed. When are you going to come to my island?
Whenever you like. Time's always good.
Wonderful, wonderful. Are you ready to get underway with our line of questioning, KK?
I'm ready for anything, yo.
Love that can-do attitude. KK, when you come to a town, do you charge admission to the villagers?
Not at all. Music's for the people.
Quite admirable. Now, KK, why do you play music?
What else is there to do? You know, sometimes you just get you get a call in, and there's not a choice of do I do this thing or do I not do this thing. It's just a thing that happens. You know, I wouldn't say there's too much choice in it. It's just part of existence, you know.
One might say that it comes naturally to you.
I like your vibe, yeah.
Speaking of things that come naturally and other things that one might do, you have definitely been through many wonderful towns in our beautiful communities. What are some of your favorite ways to pass the time? Do you think it's boring?
Oh, never, no. You know, I got my favorite time passer right here, but there's so many things that you can do to get the time by. I mean, since it is almost after, oh no, I was gonna say if you want to request a song on a Saturday, it's after 8, but I like to build some anticipation. You know, I gotta say my favorite thing to do is just watch the balloons go by. You know, we got a community here that gives and looks out for one another. These things just drop by and you drop them out of the sky. You get a gift and it doesn't matter who it came from because it's from someone that's there to brighten your day.
One might say it's the gift of giving without knowing who is going to receive.
That's real right there.
Now, how would you say that Animal Crossing and our wonderful sense of togetherness kind of gives credence to this theme of togetherness. How do you feel about these communities? Do they seem separate? Do they seem as though everyone's cheating on one another and lying and stealing?
No, man. It is just that, a community, a real community of people that support each other, and they're not there for any grand design, any overblown purpose, overarching goal. The goal is simple: live and let live, have some fun, plant some flowers, enjoy your life, and look up at the sky whenever you want. Just think about things that you need to think about.
Now, KK, as I understand, in these trying times of isolation, one might be able to use the Nook miles that are awarded just through everyday tasks in the town to visit fellow villages, fellow islands. Now, how would you feel that might give something to the community in terms of being able to connect with someone that they might not be able to see in real life?
I'm picking up what you're laying down. It gives you that connectivity when, yeah, you may not be able to be there physically, but you can be there on a real spiritual level. You got the power of music that you can share. You can still be with someone without being with them, and that's what I'm all for.
Now, if you were to answer that very same question in musical form, how would it sound?
Tom, I'm picking up what you're laying down, brother. That hits a real groove with my soul there. I tell you what, I'd like to give you an answer in the form of a song from my forthcoming EP called Deep Cuts. If you don't mind, I just need a quick minute to tune up here a little bit.
Your Honor, you must be very excited as a fan. This is an unheard of.
Oh man, to hear an unreleased KK track, it's a dream come true.
There we go. Yeah. All right, and I should probably warm up my voice real quick. I'm a little rusty yet. It's before 8.
Of course, take us away.
All right, yeah. All right, I got it.
Wonderful.
All right. This song doesn't have a title because you know what? It doesn't need one.
Wonderful. You're wonderful, KK.
Little sampler for you.
Oh, I'm crying.
Now, KK, I've got one more question for you. Now, are you familiar with the Sims games? This is a follow-up to my main question.
Yeah. I heard of a thing or two about that. Yeah.
Now, would you have any kind of comment to the concept that canines and animals are treated as second-class citizens, animals to be owned by their owners?
That's a pretty poignant observation that you got there, Tom. And I've been giving it some thought because I got a lot of time to sit around and take these thoughts in and kind of stew them over in my noggin. And I'm really kind of a live and let live kind of dog. If you're picking up on what I'm saying there, some dogs, we come in varieties. Some people, we prefer that kind of rigid, that structure, that rigid regimented life, and like I dig it, man. If you wanna chow down out of a bowl, great, man. If you want to play songs and just kind of chill, you do that too, man. I say, we can coexist with that.
Live and let bark. That's very beautiful, KK. Thank you for your understanding and your calming presence. Is there anything that you might want to tell the folks at home?
I actually came with a little something prepared, and comes a little best with a bit of rhythm behind it. Like a little vibe. So I just like to say, people say what can make my bells ring, and I tell them, bro, the bell's inside you. You just gotta sing.
Thank you, KK. Your Honor, no further questions.
All right.
Well, thank you very much for providing that amazing performance. Team Sims, do you have any cross questions for KK?
We really have no questions, Your Honor. I would just like to state we are very happy for KK that he has somehow managed to survive Tom Nook's murderous onslaught. Thank you.
Oh, man.
Jim.
I would like to motion to chew Jim out.
Oh, please, yes.
Please, thank you.
Jim, this is so important to me. I have spent so much time thinking about this case. You know how many DORK courts I've been in? All of them. Do you know how many have won? One. This was my moment, and you are fucking it up with your unprecedented murder charges before we've even introduced evidence, and you came in anyway, even though we all know you had the Taco Bell last night, which is why you're wearing your pajama pants.
Your Honor, I would
Emily,
like...
that was beautiful. That was beautiful. That was almost as
Thank you.
beautiful as KK saw. Oh my God.
Your Honor, I would like to, on behalf of the Animal Crossing team, thank Ms. First Chair for chewing out Mr. Beach.
You're so welcome.
I think on behalf of all of humanity, we thank you for chewing out Jim Beach. It doesn't sound like there's any cross-examination questions for you, KK, so you may leave, but please leave an autographed compact disc for me on your way out.
Thanks, Honor Boss. And hey, don't forget to swing by the show, Daddy-O. 8 o'clock. Be there, be square.
Wouldn't miss it. I think KK Ska is probably my favorite of KK's albums. Very good. Looks like a specials album. All right. With that, we are now finished with the witness phase, and we're going to move on to evidence. As I understand it, the Sims group has evidence they wish to present. After that, we'll go to closing arguments, and then I'll tell you how you can decide the outcome of this case.
Your Honor, we have 2 pieces of evidence to present today. I am going to start with our document and evidence, and then we're going to move on to our video evidence, which Jim Beach doesn't know about.
Wait, what?
So for our document, today a lot of accusations were thrown around before proper evidence could be brought to light. Some might say that we failed to lay the foundation of an argument that we made. I am going to use my screen share. An article testimony presented by thegamer.com. If you'll take a look at this title, the headline reads, Animal Crossing players keep kidnapping Tom Nook's nephews. He has tasted blood, and he will again. Your Honor, a lot of arguments have been made today about how sick and twisted Sims players are. All of the different ways we have, which we can use to murder and destroy the lives of our own creations. But I would argue it's because we've had the Sims longer, and there's more Sims to enjoy. The Animal Crossing participants and players haven't had the chance to catch up yet. Based on this article, players are kidnapping Tommy and Timmy Nook, Tom Nook's beloved nephews, and he's doing nothing to save them. I will be posting this document into the court records at the conclusion of today's trial.
We would also like to stipulate, Your Honor, that this article proves that the residents of these islands are so desperate that they have resorted to kidnapping and torturing children to get out of their debt to Tom Nook. Horrifying. Horrifying.
Objection, Your Honor.
Yes, let's hear it.
First of all, the article described kidnapping and not torturing. That was merely Jim's colorful language. And also, by what basis is this confirmed as fact?
Your Honor, there are screenshots embedded within the article.
Yes, Your Honor, we move that the evidence speaks for itself. Unless Tom Nook has any corroborating evidence to indicate that the Gamer is a site that should not be trusted with gaming news, I would like the objection overruled.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and overrule the objection and ask that Team Sims place that piece of evidence into the DORK Court Facebook group so that anyone and everyone has the ability to take a look at it. Maybe even when this is posted, put a comment that includes this link so that people can read it for themselves. Because I'm going to tell you, when I've been playing Animal Crossing, I've been trying to fuck with those kids because they are just the worst, and I can't figure out how to do it. So if this article tells you how to do it, I want to try and do it.
Yes, it explains how to do it, you sick, twisted person.
First
The
of
apple
all,
doesn't fall far from the tree.
That is stricken from the record because the judge is not sick and twisted. The judge is awesome.
Objection, Your Honor. I remember you saying that nothing is stricken from the record.
Well, unless the judge says otherwise. It's not illegal if the judge does it.
Understood. Thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Your Honor,
Damn it,
for
apples.
our second piece of evidence, I have something shocking to present this court. I broke into Jim Beach's house last night.
What?
Ooh!
That though he claims he has not played an edition of The Sims in many, many years, he has The Sims 4 and every expansion pack.
Lies! These are lies!
I would like to present to you Sim Beach. I have collected...
No, please!
Thank you. I think that video shows that in The Sims, Jim Beach can live his wildest fantasies. He went to space, he was a mermaid, and he had a dad who cared about him. Thank you. That is the end of my evidence.
I have never felt more violated. Jim, Dad was disgusting. And you should feel so bad about yourself.
I do. I feel really bad about myself.
Not enough. However bad you're feeling, I want you to amp that up by like 1,000%. Oh. Oh. All right. Well, I'm gonna have to take bleach to my eyeballs to try and forget that. Thank you for that evidence.
You're welcome.
And now I would like to move on to closing statements. I'm going to turn my audio and my video off during this so that you can't see me vomiting. Animal Crossing, you're up first with your closing.
Thank you, Your Honor. Esteemed, like peers and villagers of the jury, I just want to talk to you a little bit about citizenship. We're living in an age where our interdependence on one another has become more glaring and critical than ever. We're becoming increasingly aware that no man, dog, cat, pig, chicken, duck, frog, octopus, deer, hippo, gorilla, alligator, or anteater is an island. We just live on one, bud. Recognizing this profound interconnectedness, building empathy, and overcoming our individual differences to strengthen our ties in our community, these are the ideals essential for forging ahead and creating a harmonious, sustainable 21st century. How do we achieve this? Ayahuasca ceremony? Sure, but if you lack the constitution for 4 hours of guaranteed diarrhea and lucid hallucinations of jaguar spirits, this same communion can be achieved with good old-fashioned civic engagement, the nuts and bolts of gameplay in Animal Crossing. Housing, infrastructure, agriculture, horticulture, terraforming. Through the sweat of your brow, you have the power to make your village, and by extension, your world, a better, more idyllic and magical place in real time. Or you could do nothing at all, free of literally any consequences. It's like swallowing an entire corn cob. In Animal Crossing, you get out what you put in. Look at me. Look at Harv. In any other game, a hippy-dippy dog like me would be ostracized, treated like a freak, living on the fringe of society, possibly as an idolater within a cannibalistic cult of personality in the remote jungles of Cambodia. I don't know. In Animal Crossing, my freewheel in nature and creativity were recognized and supported by our small community. And now, I'm the organizer of an art collective and the proprietor of Photopia, a thriving photography studio. My differences were embraced instead of punished by a vindictive asshole omnipotent player with the proclivities of Marquis de Sade and Abrahamic God. It's nice to be part of a game that doesn't read as softcore hentai meets the Saw franchise. In Animal Crossing, tolerance and camaraderie are the fabric that holds society together, even stronger and more delicately woven than any textile you can buy at Able Sisters Tailors. In Animal Crossing, you don't choose your villagers with their varying species and personality types. You choose to serve them. It's the reason the dialogue tree operates on a binary of enthusiastically supportive or slightly but benignly brusque. We're all here, and we're all here to get along. Even if you're a petulant little shit stain like Jim Beach, you're still welcome at a community party. Sure, we can't make woohoo in Animal Crossing, but unless you're some sick Caligulaic freak, maybe you don't want to see, much less connivingly orchestrate, a bunch of interspecies fucking. Do you? Does anyone care to watch Derwin the Duck join the Dodo Airlines Mile High Club and corkscrew Puddles the Frog with his swirly duck dick? No, it's quite enough to gather up the pieces of Wisp the Ghost's splintered spirit. I don't need to pick up the shards of my own soul, too. In Animal Crossing, we don't entertain ourselves through fighting, fucking, drinking, verbal denigration, clown pregnancy, or colon rupturing from deliberate toilet deprivation. The fun is built around something more noble and more powerful: citizenship. The reward and incentive are one and the same: to beautify your surroundings and achieve harmony. For fuck's sake, the only points in the entire game are for feng shuiing your house, bud. When you bring back foreign fruits from a neighboring island, after I assume they were cleared through customs and aren't an invasive species, you're not just enriching yourself. You're diversifying both the flora and diet of your community. When you dig up fossils and donate them to the museum, you're not doing it for personal gain. You're contributing to the collective knowledge of the islanders and erecting a giant fuck you to any creationists among them. When you pull weeds to earn Nook miles, to redeem for a waterscaping permit, to divert a river, to make a space to put down a set of soccer goals, to get an island-wide game going, that's not capricious self-aggrandizement like in The Sims. That's civil fucking engineering, bud. It's all for the greater good. Thank you, Your Honor.
Eloquently spoken. And as always, with Dork Court, anytime we can talk about how weird penis genitalia is on ducks is a huge plus. Now we will have closing statements from our friends, and by friends, I mean Emily is a friend and Jim Beach exists. We'll have closing statements from the Sims team. Thank you very much.
Yes, Your Honor. May it please the court and our jury, I'm not here to say whether or not it's a good thing or the right thing for Animal Crossing to be a utopia where nothing can go wrong and all of your cares are taken into consideration. That may very well be something that appeals to a large number of gamers. I'm not here to kink shame Harv and his apparent fantasies about autoerotic asphyxiation with a corn cob. In fact, the Sims are not here to kink shame or any type of shame anyone. The Sims allows you to be what you want to be. And although I am humiliated that Emily broke into my home and showed the world what my secret fantasies are involving my father, it goes to show you that The Sims is a game for everyone. I'm a broken man, Your Honor. I didn't have a father. I had no support structure. And I get nothing from playing a happy fun times game that gives me no options for evil except for kidnapping and torturing children. Admittedly, that part is okay, but it's the only option, as our evidence has shown. I can take my anger and frustrations out on Sims in any way that I want. But if I'm not sadistic and creepy, I can have a fun game where everyone's happy, where you create multi-generational families, where you can build your dream house, where you can have your dream job, where you can live the life that you've always dreamed of. You can simulate your own life. You can create a life to live vicariously through others. The game is what you make of it, and it can be anything. And it can be played anywhere. So, Your Honor, may it please the court, I submit to you today that The Sims is an everlasting game that has brought hope and stability to the lives of literally millions of people across the globe. Available for as little as $5 for anyone to gain the enjoyment or to help themselves or to simply have fun. It's a game that has truly transcended gaming itself. And regardless of the shocking and likely true insinuations that Tom Nook is a child murderer, even if that's not the case, The Sims gives you the abilities that Tom Nook never will, because The Sims doesn't discriminate. The Sims doesn't kink shame. In The Sims, everything is fair game. Thank you, Your Honor. The Sims rests.
Well, Jim, that was eloquently spoken. If your father were around, and if he maybe possibly cared about you, he might say something nice right now about the passion that was shown during that closing statement. If. All right.
I
Ladies
love
and
you
gentlemen-
too, Dad. I love you too.
Can someone just mute him and turn off that video, please? Thank you. God. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we have reached the point where it is now time for you to make your decision. If you are a Patreon subscriber to the Otherworld Theater, you can vote now to determine who wins. And stay tuned, because in just a moment, we'll reveal whether or not The Sims or Animal Crossing prevailed in Digital Dork Court. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I have just been handed your verdict, and I am excited to read it. We can just have everyone back on screen for the reading of this verdict, which I have to put my glasses on to see. It looks like today the jury has ruled that now and forever, throughout all of recorded and yet to be recorded history, the superior gaming property is The Sims.
Yes! Jim Beach wins again! I am undefeatable!
Harv, you want to just go fishing? Fuck this.
Yeah, fuck this.
I'm so
Yeah,
glad.
absolutely.
I want to thank everybody, all the Sims I've killed, all the Sims I haven't killed yet, the Sims game that was corrupted because I inbred them so many times. Thank you so much.
And I would like to thank my father, who today, whoever he may be, showed me the greatest love that he ever has in his entire life. Thank you, Patreon. Thank you, world. Thank you, Sims.
All right, let's not get too carried away. I am the Honorable Judge Reinhold. It has been my pleasure serving as some sort of moderator for this chaos. The digital content that you've been enjoying has been brought to you free of charge by the Otherworld Theater Company. Now, if you would like to support Otherworld, and why wouldn't you, then you can find them on Facebook, and you can also follow and subscribe to them on YouTube. They also have a Twitter account and are on Instagram as well. They're a well-rounded institution. Please be sure to check out their Patreon, because if you give them money on Patreon, as little as $2 a month, you get all sorts of wonderful perks, including voting rights on Digital Dork Courts, which to me is the most important thing. It's also a great way to support genre theater during this, and I'm going to say it, difficult time. Thank you for tuning in to Dork Court. Be sure to visit otherworldtheater.org for more information. And I will see you next time.